Don't believe people when they say you just lost your passion. Passion doesn't disappear, it suffocates slowly under the life you keep pretending is yours. Women are told to be responsible, stable, agreeable, to choose safety over fire, to build lives that look right, even when they feel empty inside. And somewhere along the way, they trade their voice for approval, their desires for expectations, their truth for a role that earns them just enough validation to stay quiet. So let me ask you something you've been avoiding. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not productive, not needed, but alive. Because if you have to think about it, that's not exhaustion, that's erosion. And here's the part no one tells you. If you keep going like this for another year, it won't just be your passion that disappears. It will be your ability to even recognize yourself without the mask. This isn't a video to motivate you. It's a confrontation, because the version of you that feels lost right now is not broken. She's buried. And if you're ready to stop pretending, we're going to dig her out. I used to think I was just tired, that if I took a weekend off, slept a little more, maybe booked a trip somewhere quiet, I would feel like myself again. But every time I slowed down, the silence got louder. Not peaceful, just empty. It was like standing in a beautifully decorated room with nothing inside it that actually belonged to me. I had done everything right, built a life that made sense. I was reliable, needed, respected, the kind of woman people point to and say, she has it together. But there was a moment, one I couldn't ignore anymore. Someone asked me a simple question: what makes you feel alive? And I froze, not because I didn't want to answer, but because I couldn't. That silence, it wasn't confusion. It was exposure. It was the moment I realized I had been living inside a role for so long. I had forgotten the person who was supposed to be playing it. And if you've ever been there, you know this truth cuts deeper than any failure ever could, because failure still means you tried. This is what happens when you slowly abandon yourself, one compromise at a time. I started replaying everything in my head. All the times I said yes when I meant no. All the times I chose stability over curiosity. All the times I silenced that quiet voice inside me because it felt inconvenient. And the worst part, no one forced me. That's when it hit me. The life that was suffocating me was the life I kept choosing, not consciously, not intentionally, but consistently. And that's a harder truth to face than blaming the world. Because if the problem is outside of you, you can stay stuck. But if it's within you, then you have to change. And change demands something most people avoid at all costs: responsibility, not for what happened to you, but for what you keep allowing. That was my breaking point, not a dramatic collapse, just a quiet realization that if I kept going like this, I would become a stranger to myself permanently. And in that moment, something shifted. Not hope, not motivation, clarity. I began to see that my lost passion wasn't lost at all. It was buried under years of self-betrayal. Every time I ignored what I wanted, I added another layer. Every time I prioritized being accepted over being honest, I pushed it further down, until eventually it stopped trying to reach me. Not because it died, but because I stopped listening. That's when I understood something that changed everything. You don't lose your why, you disconnect from it. And disconnection is not an accident. It's a pattern of outsourcing your worth, a pattern of living inside other people's expectations, a pattern of measuring your life through a system that was never designed for your truth. In Stoic philosophy, there's a concept that draws a hard line between what is within your control and what is not. I had spent years obsessing over things outside my control: how I was perceived, whether I was enough, whether I was doing life right. But I had neglected the only thing that was ever mine to begin with: my internal compass, my boundaries, my honesty, my choices. That's when I realized self-mastery isn't about becoming stronger. It's about becoming more truthful about what drains you, truthful about what you're avoiding, truthful about what you actually want, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. Because here's the uncomfortable reality: passion doesn't come back to people who are still lying to themselves. You can't reconnect with your why while continuing to perform a life that isn't yours. And no amount of journaling, therapy, or inspiration will fix that. If you're not willing to confront the one thing you've been running from, your own voice. But once you do, something subtle begins to happen. You stop asking, what should I do with my life? And you start asking, what have I been avoiding? And that question, that's where everything begins to shift, because your passion isn't hiding in some distant future. It's buried in the decisions you've been too afraid to make, the boundaries you've been too afraid to set, the truth you've been too afraid to admit. And the moment you stop running from that, you don't just find your why, you remember it. Now you know the truth. Your passion didn't leave you. You left it every time you chose silence over honesty, comfort over truth, approval over self-respect. So here's where it changes: not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. Step 1, stop performing. Identify one area of your life where you're playing a role just to be accepted, and end the act. No explanations, no justifications, just truth. Step 2, reclaim your internal compass. Every day, ask yourself one question: what do I actually want right now if no one was watching? Then honor it, even in the smallest way. Step 3, create non-negotiable space for yourself. 15 minutes a day, no noise, no input, no expectations, just you facing you. That's where your voice comes back, because this is the shift. You don't wait for passion to guide your life. You build a life that allows passion to exist. So stand up, strip away the mask, set the boundary, make the decision you've been avoiding. This is your life, and no one is coming to hand it back to you. If you choose to reclaim it, then prove it, not to the world, to yourself.